Hey, welcome to this mini lecture. It's on Paulo Freire and his iconic book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Who is Paulo Freire? He was a Brazilian educator and philosopher, and from this, he was a leading advocate of critical pedagogy. In terms of his background, he's born in a middle class family in Recife, Brazil. He was intimately familiar with poverty and hunger from his own experiences as a youth during the Great Depression. And his father died early in 1934, which contributed to this difficult situation. In terms of his early education, during adolescence, Freire was 4 grades behind, so he also knows some of the struggles that students can face. Luckily for him, his social life revolved around pickup football, or soccer, as others might call it. And from this, Freire claims he learned a great deal from other poor children, from playing intimately with them in sports. As I sort of said previously, poverty and hunger severely affected his ability to learn. Here's a quote: "I didn't understand anything because of my hunger. I wasn't dumb, it wasn't lack of interest. My social condition didn't allow me to have an education. Experience showed me once again the relationship between social class and knowledge." So when he talks about oppression and pedagogy and their intersection, he again has background in being oppressed due to being poor. His iconic book again was Pedagogy of the Oppressed, released in 1968. Its main theme is that it's foundational in the critical pedagogy movement, and it's highly influential. Its impact was that it's the third most cited book in the social sciences, according to Google Scholar in 2016. It advocates for a new type of education, emphasized the need to provide native populations with education that was both new and modern, rather than traditional in form, and also anti-colonial. It's not simply an extension of the colonizing culture, but pushes back against it. He talks about the binary, the dyad of oppressors and oppressed. He applies the oppressors and oppressed distinction to education. Freire believes that you should allow the oppressed to regain their sense of humanity, to overcome their condition, which is being oppressed. For this to occur, the oppressed individual must play a role in their liberation. That's part of what Pedagogy of the Oppressed tries to do, is to help them become active participants in their own liberation. In terms of rethinking the way of life, the oppressors must be willing to rethink their way of life and examine their role in the oppression if true liberation is to occur. So it's not just the oppressed being who need to consider this, it's also the oppressors who engage in the oppression. Quote, "Those who authentically commit themselves to the people must re-examine themselves constantly." In terms of politics, teaching and learning should be considered political acts, according to Freire. Teachers and students must be made aware of the politics that surround education. Like, why is education the way it is? And again, politics has a great deal to do with it, especially because it functions as part of government. The way students are taught and what they are taught serves a political agenda. And depending on the country or the province or state or municipality where you're existing and where this education is being given, it serves some kind of political agenda. That was Paulo Freire and Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Have you read this book? What do you think of it? What role do you think oppressors play in education? How do we invite them into educational spaces? How do we activate and make the oppressed feel that their experiences, their way of life, their knowledge is important for their own liberation? Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to comment again, and please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want similar types of content. Take care.